All right, lights on.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Hi, hello.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to the Double D
Experience.
First episode. I'm Dennis. I'm scared.
Don't be scared.
I can't do this.
Don't be scared, you fucking pussy.
I
If a bunch of fucking rednecks can go and storm the Capitol, you can do a podcast.
I'm not as mentally strong as they are.
Well,
I'm not in it.
Well, David, I'm going to tell you something. Not only
What?
are they not mentally strong, they also don't have jobs no more. A lot of them are in jail. So that's not you, David. You can do this. You can fucking do this.
Well, welcome everybody. We are so happy to have you here as our initial listeners and our initial supporters, squadcasting it up for you guys right here. My boy Dennis is out here. He's the menace, the Senate. Dennis the Senate.
Yes,
Sean, I should
am
say.
Mitch McConnell. I obstruct all stimulus checks from ever going out. That's to me.
I cannot picture your voice coming out of Mitch McConnell's body.
I actually heard him talk for the first time like in forever, because I always heard his name, but I never actually heard what he looked like or sounded like.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta say, I was pretty disappointed considering how because like everyone called this guy like the boogeyman, like the Grim Reaper and shit like that. And first time I saw him, I was kind of like, both my grandfathers are dead, but I'm like, yo, he'd definitely be like my grandfather's age at this point. And like his voice, it's like got that like weird Kentuckian drawl.
Yeah,
that goes like,
object.
I'm object because I don't believe in this. I don't believe in stimulus checks for everybody, and I don't believe in aid. But I do believe in foreign aid for a bunch of fucking countries that. Yeah. Okay, I'm not gonna go into this yet, but like I don't know. Like, I was real close, but like I gotta say, when the fucking pages of that shit came out for the first time, because like I think it was a couple days afterwards where they passed the 600. And I saw like a couple pages of like all the shit that it's supposed to entail, and apparently how much shit like was going to foreign aid. Like I like read that, and as an American, I was very pissed off. I was like, "Fuck all these guys. We need."
I thought you were Asian.
I am also an American, David.
What? You could be both?
Yeah.
Whoa, that's great, dude. I'm sorry, my voice is a little off right now. I'm an esports commentator. Anybody listening to this who doesn't know me. To us to introduce ourselves before we talk about Mitch McConnell for 3 minutes, I'm impressed by how quickly we got on to Mitch McConnell. That fast.
I mean, look,
I'm definitely down to talk about my theories about Mitch McConnell later, because you already know. You already know what I think about some of the stuff. We're going to talk about the Mitch McConnell lore in just a little bit.
Lore. The first
that's the World of Warcraft shit, dude. Like, it's expansive. It goes on. It's like, and then in the middle of it, it's like, Mordor fucking exploded.
Just like,
whoa!
Eye of Sauron just has like Mitch like just standing there like inside the eye. He's just like looking over everybody.
I thought that's Reagan, like looking over all the Republicans.
Just like being like disappointed. In all
just shaking his head from beyond the grave.
I think Lincoln's probably more disappointed. That's his party.
Well, I mean, they
were
like,
in name until they like
exactly until they reversed it and switched the whole shebang. But I had to do my vocal warm ups for you guys who don't know. Anybody who listening to this who doesn't know me. As like I said, we haven't introduced ourselves yet. I am an esports commentator from the great state of New Jersey. I go by Nintoonist under that department, as I'm sure you're all aware. I commentate Smash Brothers and other video games of the like. Dennis, of course, is a historian and our relative friend, a longtime friend of mine. He puts the Asian to my Caucasian. Full forced. And I gotta tell you, I had to actually warm myself up harder, because like I learned a lot of like good vocal exercises from some pretty amazing people in the voice work industry, like from some classes that I used to take back in the city. And it was getting me a little harder to hit it, because I made myself some grilled cheese sandwiches beforehand, right? I'm like, that's cool.
So you're
I
like,
eat those.
You got like all that.
Oh yeah, no. Food is the enemy of the voice for sure. But then my mom comes over, right? And she's like, David, you can enhance that shit. And I'm like, how do I enhance that shit? It's like, you remember the steak, like mushrooms we had last night? I didn't remember we had that. So my mom makes me take the steak and the mushrooms and like I heat them up in the microwave and put them on there. And fuck! It was, dude. This sandwich. Have you ever had a grilled cheese sandwich with steak and mushrooms Oh my god, the level up, the power up that gave me from my mom is incredible. Like when they make food, nothing like a mom to help you do that. They do not fuck around. I felt like I got that level up when I was like a kid, you know, like riding my bicycle out in the park or some shit, and then like I beat them in like a game of like Beyblade or some shit or whatever dumb stuff you play when you're in the 6th grade.
Nothing
and then I go back
like,
to my house. I kick in the fucking door. I go to my house, Dennis, and I kick in the fucking door, and I'm like, Mom, McDonald's, now. And you know when you're 6 years old and you just want McDonald's when you're out? It's like, let's ride. And you go back in and it's good. That is how I feel right now, Dennis. I have the steak sandwich power up. And that's the hot topic of the entire podcast. That's all I have to say. I think we're done. 6 minutes is plenty. The steak sandwich. I think we're good.
Is that going to be the pilot's name? Steak sandwich?
I'm not going to name it after...
Look, dude, it might as well be. Because I was even thinking the title should be like, Double D Experience Episode 1, Mitch the Bitch. But like, I'd rather just let it be like grilled cheese sandwich. Like I'd rather feel it would be a better episode title. That's just me, at least.
Mitch the Bitch.
Because, you know, like the guy's... his whole, I don't even call it a reign of terror, but like his whole tenure as like majority leader is over now, so it's like,
I mean,
whatever.
Dude, whatever. The fact that Mitch McConnell is going to be actually kind of like irrelevant again,
I think also
nuts.
He doesn't truly care either, because like in the end, like the dude makes mad money. He's like one of the richest politicians out there, like just
probably
through like, I guess, corporate donations alone or whatever the fuck else. I think he has like business assets as well, so like the dude's like fine. And honest to God, like, I think he also isn't that special either, as far as like, I guess, obstructionist politicians go, just because like they could pick another guy from their entire lot of like, you know, rusty, crusty old men to be exactly him. And it's really not that hard either. Like,
yeah, but they didn't used to be turtles like he did.
They all look like it now. They look like as if they're ready to like. They should all be in retirement homes, but like, you know, but like half these guys, like, you know, they also know like I got nothing else going for me after this, so it's like ride or die, like basically for them at this point.
To anybody who lives under a rock, Mitch McConnell is, of course, he was the Senate Majority Leader in the Senate for a very long time, up until recently, in which the Georgia runoff elections were both the Democrats who were running in both of those Senate seats won. So now the Republicans are not the Senate majority anymore, which means Mitch McConnell, who they deemed the Senate Majority Leader, is now going to take his little penis-shaped head and put it back into the shell where it belongs, and then model his way over back to the pond. Because if you look at Mitch McConnell, y'all can Google him right now.
Yeah, it's not an impressive sight.
If you haven't, again, if you live under a rock, if you're an American, you probably know who this guy is at this point.
He in bad shape.
I very firmly believe, and I talked about this with Dennis in our test recording that we made for this podcast, because we actually did do a test recording. We thought some things through. I know you probably thought we didn't, but, you know, Dennis, I didn't have to tell him anything. He was just as passionate about it as I am. He's a passionate man. Anyway.
Even though if I don't sound like it a lot of times. I'm a quiet individual at heart, but like there are some times when like I do kind of like just come out of my shell for a little bit.
Oh, I know.
And then I retreat right back into it as soon as like my whole like energy high is like over.
Dude, just like Mitch McConnell.
That dude,
that guy back into the shell.
That dude stopped being energetic a long time ago. Like, even if like there was something that he's passionate about, like he'd have that same boring, I fuck my wife good, but she obviously knows that's not true, like voice, like all the time. Like he has like, I mean, I'd like to think at least I'm not as droll as him, but like oftentimes like it also depends on like who I'm with too, like where that energy comes out. Just because like I don't know, I'm tired all the time. So, you know, like it just it also depends on like the circumstances. Like I've been at parties and shit too. Yeah, because like it depends. I don't know. I've been at parties and shit. Like I've been to clubs and stuff, and like a lot of times, like I'm be vibing, and then after 2 hours, I'm like I'm tapped.
Oh, dude, same. Are you
I'm ready
joking?
to go home.
I've been at some parties where there's been some wild shit happening, and then like even if it's with people I'm like comfortable with, at a certain point, it's like social energy down.
Yeah.
Yes. Would you like who here opposes actually giving Americans money for something that they actually need, a livable way? Object. I object to that notion.
I really wish I could copy his voice because it sounds like as if it'd be really.
I really wish I could piss in his mouth. He'd probably enjoy that. Yeah. You know, that would make a turtle shrivel. That would make an actual turtle. So imagine pissing on a fucking turtle.
He was definitely like, I didn't want, obviously, when like the riots happened, I didn't want anyone to actually die. But you know, I was also thinking like, no. Let me explain. Because like when it came out that the 4, I think 5 now that because there was one guy I think who I think he committed suicide because like it was a cop I believe because like a lot of the stress was kind of getting to him, and I think he had an aneurysm. I'm not sure. Like none of you all like quote me on that. Like, and I'm not here to be as a repository of current events, but like and I kind of read a lot of shit like kind of like off the cuff. So I ain't gonna. None of y'all have to take whatever I say as like I guess as fact or as stone. What I did at least feel though when I heard that there were these casualties, and 2 or 3 of them being, I guess, the ones who tried to actually storm the place, was one, if they did decide to open fire, I would have been perfectly fine with it. Like if the cops decided to open fire on the rioters, I'd be like, because I was trying to get at least wrapping my head around this for a while, because like I was like thinking like this is history. Like this is a very historically significant event in our history.
Oh,
because we haven't seen anything like this in the last, I think, couple of hundreds of years. And I think the closest thing that we've ever seen where people tried to overthrow a legitimate government was the American Revolution. At least that's, for me, that's the closest thing that I've seen as far as equivalency goes. Because as far as like the American Revolution, like real quick, that whole thing was an insurrection, and it wasn't even that popularly supported either. Later on, after like it was over, everyone was just kind of like, oh well, I guess, you know, they won, so this is the new you know, status quo. Okay, like we'll just like tag along with it. Other than the fact that there were a lot of those loyalists that literally got kicked out and had the property taken and then like shipped off to basically England afterwards because like, you know, people considered them traitors. But like, and then even thinking about the Civil War too, like we really haven't seen anything like this in like a while, at least not in our modern day history as far as the 1900s to 2000s is concerned. And
first thing I think of is like the War of
hold on.
12. Oh, sorry. Go on.
And I was actually going to mention the War of 1812 because like I was even thinking too, like these guys love to wave their guns around, love to like thump their Bibles and like say like we love Trump and shit. And I don't hate or love these people just because like I kind of pity them of how dumb they are. And at the same time, I also do low-key hate them because of how stupid they are. Because I almost feel as if in the age where you have all of the information in the world in your hands, you don't have a right to be stupid. But at the same time, it's like you're also at the mercy of like several different entities that basically use these people as like almost like cattle, I feel. Because like, you know, people be watching Newsweek 24/7 a day, getting all their information from that. So it's like it's a kind of a mix of that. But at the same time, though, like I was thinking, like because there were so many of them that got caught, got arrested, went to jail. A lot of the famous ones, you know, like the guy who put the blue, white, and red face paint and shit. That guy's in jail now. The guy who took that picture of taking Nancy Pelosi's podium, yeah, he's in jail now. Like the FBI and everybody be on like witch hunts and shit trying to find these people. And I gotta say, like, it was really funny because I don't know. I was just thinking, like, you know, a lot of these people are going to jail thinking they did the right thing. And I'm like, there's something admirable about that. But at the same time, it's like
admirable.
It's because of the conviction. Just that alone, not because of their actual like messaging, just their conviction alone. It's like, wow. Like, because you kind of have to admire like those stupid ones who like, you know, it's like, wow, they aren't that smart, but damn, does he got heart? That kind of shit. Like,
dude,
it's like looking at a dumb puppy sometimes, because it's like you just can't help but be like, well, I mean, we still like I said, like my whole I guess opinions about these people is kind of like, I guess, a bit mixed, because it's like mixed with pity and like, you know, just low-key vitriol, because like literally the cop, because I'm angry about that cop who died. He was
from
New
Jersey.
Yeah,
and he was from Jersey. I was very pissed off about that too when I saw that.
I don't even rep New Jersey that hard, but for that one brief moment, I definitely rep New Jersey.
I rep the fuck out of New Jersey.
I know. But I'm a New Yorker at first because I was born and raised there, and when I came to New Jersey, it's just kind of like I just kind of viewed it as like, a place I live. But like I don't know, for that brief moment, and like I'm not gonna do that same thing that David Guetta did, where he's like, "Oh, like good shout outs to like George Floyd." Yeah, I don't know if you ever heard about that. Like he basically like was doing a concert, and like as he was about to have the music drop, he was just like, "Shout out to George Floyd and his family. These are hard times." Or so, he said some real stupid shit like that, and I'm like, "Yo, George Floyd none of his family give a fuck about you, David Guetta." But like, of course, like. To whoever the guy,
at least you tried.
Fuck, whatever. Like David Guetta is not a person. None of these dumbass celebrities should be coming out to begin with and talking about their opinions and like feelings about some of this shit. Because one, you don't live in the same world as the average everyday person.
Yeah, I gotta cut you off there about one thing, because I very much agree with that, but it depends. It's like it's a very hard thing when you're more of like. Not that I'm the most famous individual in the world, obviously, like I had my butler, make me a decaf, frappuccino, before I came in to do this
Sponsored by Rise Brew.
Yeah, and it wasn't even Rise Brew, so I threw it back in his face. So I told him I'm not gonna drink this piss. I'm not gonna drink this piss. Yeah, like I'm gonna turn that fucker into Two-Face for not bringing me the right fucker into Two-Face for not bringing me the right fucking latte. Are you kidding me? Get that piss out of my face. But in all seriousness, when you're a public figure, it's got to be a little bit harder because there are people who will be saying that what you're doing is performative no matter what. And don't get me wrong, a lot of that shit is probably very performative. I come from... Well, I'll talk about that in a minute, but then they also might be serious, and when they're serious, that's when you can tell when they actually donate a lot of their shit to like these organizations or whatnot that actually would make changes. Okay. I'll tell you, Dennis, I come from the Smash community, and I love Smash. I love the friends that I've made from it. Smash has given me so much. It's how I got my job with Nintendo, first of all, so I can't say that I'm not grateful for it. But the Smash community at large has a lot of issues, and I will not lie in saying that there are times when I fucking hate it. And
like some people should just shut the fuck up at times. No, for sure. Smash Twitter would be a topic that would take up an entire ass episode, and that's not even a world that you know or understand, and I envy you for that. But I will say, in terms of performative versus preventative nature. One of the things that happened is that there was a big Me Too wave in the Smash community around July, and just the gaming community at large is when that happened, and a lot of people were coming out with a lot of stories. It literally made national fucking news. We were on the front page of ESPN. That is not the kind of attention that the Smash community ever gets, and the one time that a grassroots scene like this did is when our community was being outed of predators and pedophiles. It was not a good look. And that is definitely not the kind of like exposure that y'all want either. Like, I mean, that goes without saying, obviously,
Yeah. But what happened is that there were some regions, there was one region, I'm not going to name names, of course, that what they did is that they sort of they looked into issues, they banned the perpetrators, and then they kind of just called it a day. And the thing is, I was a little upset at first because my region, Tri-State, took a pretty long time to actually to actually talk about what measures that they were taking to move things on. And I was foolish. I got a little impatient with that because I thought, what are they going to do? Are they not going to do anything? I'm like ashamed to be a Smash commentator right now. But trust me, Tri-State is in the hands of such amazing tournament organizers. And then once they released what they did so much. They did more than just ban the people responsible. They organized between all the tournaments in Tri-State and what they wanted to do. They released anonymous tip lines that you could report things to in case there was any sexual malfeasance or stuff like that. And it made me think, what one TO told me is that what that particular region did was not preventative of making sure these things didn't continue to happen in the future and actually instill change in the community. It was performative because all they did was ban the people responsible, and then they didn't do anything else to ensure that stuff like this would not happen again. You know what I mean? It's what they did. What my region did was more, just not really just performative, but it was preventative. They actually were trying to take measures to ensure that these things didn't happen anymore. And it's a little hard to tell when it comes to celebrities doing that because like it could very well be performative.
Like
there's a lot of fucking
celebrities.
There's a lot of fucking yeah, of course. There's a lot of fucking virtue signaling that happens online where people just write, "OMG, I support
like do you remember
Mexicans. I really love Mexicans and our president doesn't,
BLM,
so I'm a good person."
Oh, real quick, do you remember when the BLM protests were like at its like highest a couple months ago? And there were a bunch of these Hollywood A-listers who basically came out and did a video apologizing. They were all white people.
Oh, I forgot about this. I totally forgot about this. I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
Real quick. This was the thing that I was kind of getting at before. Yeah. Because when I saw that, I think if I was an African-American, Black, like however which you want to call it, like if I was part of, that like subgroup.
Yeah.
And if I saw that, and I think you'd even agree too, I would not be like, oh, tapping your heart, like, I accept your apology.
It's okay.
Was literally the cringiest fucking thing. And one of them in there was actually an actor that I really like, who's Aaron Paul, who plays
Aaron Paul.
Justin Pickman, bitch. Pickman, bitch.
Not Aaron Paul. Aaron Paul didn't apologize for being white.
No, he did. No. Watch that video again. And there were a couple of other people who like I knew like
Aaron Paul, you should have fucking apologized for killing that bitch with the heroin or whatever it was in that episode. That's what you should have fucking apologized for, asshole.
Bryan
Not for being white.
That's Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston let her die.
Yeah.
He didn't take the initiative.
I don't know. That looked like initiative to me. He just like kind of like saw her die there. It was like, I mean, you could always see like at least whatever character you can like ever Breaking Bad. Hold on, real quick. Like you could always see like that. There's always something like a million things going on in their heads, especially Walter White in that show. Yes. But like this guy knew too. It's like, oh, if she's dead, I got my partner again. So like, bye, bitch. Like you leave. Like you can leave in this world. You're being offed in this show because we can't continue the plot if you're still here. It's basically what it is.
No, I'm just picturing like Walter White, like watching this poor woman die in front of him, foaming at the mouth from this drug addiction, and then him getting in front of a camera and being like,
I apologize.
I'm sorry for being white. That's what you're sorry for?
Like, that's also...
Apologize to the dead girl! Apologize to her! She didn't have any say in it.
No, watch him be like, no, I'm going to do that. Anyways, yeah, I apologize for being white.
My pastiest of my whiteness.
Yeah. This is also why I'm saying, like, as far as the performative and the preventative that you were talking about, like, performative, anytime I see it, I automatically think it's disingenuous, which 99% of the time it usually is, in my opinion. Because, as you said, preventative is obviously more proactive.
Yes.
You're actually doing something to prevent this again from ever happening.
It's if we say something that offends somebody on this podcast, and instead of saying, oh, we're sorry, and then we just do it again, it's we stop doing that and be more mindful of that. That's preventative as opposed to proactive, like you said.
Yes. And even in regards to that too, like I also feel like when it comes to certain platforms where like you hear something that you don't want to hear, personally for me, it's like if I do hear something like that, and a lot of shit doesn't really get under my skin half the time, but like if there was something that I heard, let's say I didn't like, I would just at least walk away. And by walk away, I mean like probably just not listen. If it does bother you that much, don't listen. You could add in like whatever you want. Like I guess if there was something that did offend you that much, sure, go ahead and message the entertainer, because usually they are entertainers. Like message them, say your thoughts, and then just be like, I can't be like a part of this fandom, like anymore. And then just walk away.
Oh yeah.
There is a difference between that and this really Shakespearean way of getting offended that I see people do nowadays, which is kind of like they have to really like draw on like the whole like fake ire that they have inside of themselves and like
Yeah.
put their thoughts out there saying like, oh, this was very offensive and this harmed my very being. This is an affront to my humanity. I hate this person for X, Y, and Z reasons.
Yeah.
And it's like when, you could have just not watched it. But like that's also another thing that I also hate about 2021, 2020, and even 2019, and even a couple years before that. The Me Too movement went from an actual crusade, which I honestly did support, and I still do, but I hate the ones that basically have cashed in on it and literally used it to get exposure for the very wrong reasons. I don't know if you heard about Amber Heard and all the shit that she's done.
No, we don't speak of Satan and Satan's evil ways on this podcast, on my Christian podcast, Dennis. Can we not talk about Amber Heard? Please.
Oh my god. Okay,
she can go right to hell.
I know, yeah, exactly. Because this is like, because I had this conversation a while back with my girlfriend, and she, as a
yes, I too wanted to have a threesome with Amber Heard. I assume that's what you mentioned to your girl.
Nah, she's like a 3 on a good day and a 4 on a really good day.
Yeah, you know what makes her really unattractive? The physical, mental, and emotional abuse that she did to Johnny.
She's also not that pretty either. Like,
no, I don't care how hot somebody is. Like somebody does something like that.
If I was Johnny Depp, I would be very angry that I let my millions.
Well, before we continue,
die because of this ugly bitch.
No, before we continue, to put this in perspective, Amber Heard was Johnny Depp's fiance, and she mercilessly abused him.
Yes,
like not just physically, mentally, emotionally. I'll actually, in the description of this podcast, I think I can do that on like Spotify, and I'm not so sure about the other platforms. YouTube for sure I can. I'll drop a link. I actually bookmarked the thread recently, very recently, a few days ago as a matter of fact, coincidentally enough, that I actually bookmarked that thread recently. There's this whole thread on Twitter that exposed her and everything that she did to him, because it was messed up. Because it unleashed a lot of double. It unleashed a lot of double standards, because there were people, a lot of, and I'm not saying this is the majority. Any person, any feminist with a brain is completely against abuse, no matter the gender or anything like that.
But there are people that are literally championing her.
Exactly. There was a sect.
White knight.
There was a sect of SJWs. There was a sect of SJWs that literally were supporting her and saying that Johnny Depp abused her. And that was and they were just straight up supporting her.
Oh my god.
Despite all the heinous shit that she did, just because she was a woman, and it made a lot of people really mad, and then the internet started going at each other. The incels started coming at the SJWs, the SJWs started coming back at the incels. Well. I'm sure some of them got together. I'm sure some incels and SJWs realized
and circle jerked each other until they all died.
Exactly. They're two sides of the same coin, Dennis. And then you flip them. All we got to do is that we got to take all the incels, we got to take all the SJWs, put them in a room together, and once they finally burn each other out from all the arguing, they'll realize, damn, this girl is actually pretty cute. And then this girl will be like, damn, this guy is pretty cute. And then they all kiss and hug and make up, and then boom,
David,
we solve the world.
You are way too utopic for my like liking sometimes.
Utopic?
No, it's also because
forgive me for envisioning a better world.
No. Look, not that I'm saying that I don't want a better world. I think anyone with a at least half a heart, even bigger than the Grinch's before, like it became 3 times bigger, wants a better world. My whole thing is that I'm also kind of like tempered in that whole sense, because I also feel even a utopia is flawed as well.
Of course, I think any society.
But like, I can't imagine. Like, I would be angry so much if people were happy all the time. There's something with everyone else's happiness that I see walking down the street. I'm like there was this one episode from Sopranos. Yeah. Tony was talking about like with Melfi.
The happiest of shows.
Yeah, it's like the greatest. Literally, I love that show, but there are times when like I watch it that like I know a lot of people do say that it has brought them happiness because just of how good it is. But I've watched that and I kind of get into it way too much sometimes, especially like the mental health issues that like at least Tony and a lot of other characters I kind of go through. And every time that I watch it, I'm still on season 5. I haven't finished it fully yet because it's getting real dark now as to where they're headed at the point that I'm at. But like, there was this one quote that Tony said where like it really resonated with me because I felt this way at times. He's like, I think they were talking, and then he mentioned how like there's like this guy that was walking down the street. He's got like grocery in his arms, and like he's happy. He's got a smile. He's whistling. It's like, and I want to punch him in the fucking face. And like, in another part of him is also like he's kind of deconstructing it, and he's kind of also saying that like, but why would I want to do that? Like, the guy's happy. Like, I should be like, I salute, good for you. Like, do what you got to do. Like, whatever. And like, and then I think it eventually becomes a topic revolving around him where it's like, you're unhappy. And okay, people, also, I'm not actually like gonna punch anybody for smiling on the street. Like, I'm not gonna fucking go up to the guy and like say, fuck you, don't smile, like kill yourself or some shit like that. My whole thing is like, I think even too much of anything is bad for you, because I think as a society, when things are way too good, we get lax real quick. And it's always just this vicious cycle where like we go through hardship, peace comes, everyone's happy, we get too lazy, and then bad shit happens, and then we're surprised that it happened, even when the signs were always there from the beginning. And as a historian, like I've noticed that a lot for any sort of nation, country, empire, whatever that you could even read about, like off of a Google search. It's like the whole reason why the whole term a golden age even exists. And it's also the reason why that everyone always says that doesn't last forever. And I didn't mean to get too serious about this, but it's like, I think when things get too good, people get way too comfortable. And when you get too comfortable and when there's bad shit that happens to you, like you get surprised when really you shouldn't have been surprised at all.
That like makes me think.
I'm just saying like being proactive as to like where you're at. I'm not saying don't be happy either. You can obviously strive to be happy, and I hope to all of you guys listening, like you do achieve that happiness. I'm also just saying that the grind also still doesn't end either. Like,
yeah, life is about overcoming struggles. It's JFK. Yeah. JFK said, "Pray not for an easy life, my friend. Yeah. Pray to be stronger men." That's what changes stuff. Like, trust me, I've been through all sorts of trauma in the last year, especially.
And I'm sure all of our audience has
so
too.
Made me such a stronger man, as horrible as it was to go through. But this is like not as serious of a response to this, Dennis, and I apologize for that because you've been.
No, it's fine.
You've been quite. You don't know that Dennis is like. You don't understand. This man has no filter. I mean, he has almost no filter, but right now he's letting you know who he is. He's Dennis, the menace of the Senate. And he knows a lot about the Senate.
Not Mitch McConnell.
No, he is not Mitch. I did not start a podcast with Mitch McConnell. I swear to God. Like,
can you imagine bringing him
Mitch
on
just
one
like,
day?
well, I'm not the Senate Majority Leader anymore. What the fuck am I? What the fuck am I gonna do?
He's gonna fuck
David.
Wait, he's gonna fuck his Chinese wife and go to Kentucky.
He does not have a Chinese wife.
He does have a Chinese wife.
What the fuck?
Elaine Chao. She was the Secretary of Transportation, I think.
Oh, that's wild.
I think she resigned because of everything that happened during the Capitol riots. So like her and a bunch of others like basically biggity bounced and like basically said like we're not gonna fucking fucks with Trump no more because literally people are coming after our lives now at this point.
What did the insurrection happen in the 90s? Oh, we're time to biggity bounce, dog.
Hey man, that's just how I speak, all right? But like,
we're gonna take down these swiggity senators.
Even the fucking Muppet looking bitch Loeffler who was running against Warnock, she like as soon as those riots basically finished and they reconvened again during like the night of, like after like everything had calmed down a bit outside and like they just basically came back to work and like banged out the electoral like discussion.
Yeah. She
basically said like, "Oh, I take back my statement," because she was the one saying and basically siding with everyone who was for the whole rhetoric that, oh, like they stole the election, like, we should at least open an investigation, stop the steal and all that. She came out right after and said, "Oh yeah, I'm not a part of this no more." Like I am no. Like this be too hot for me. I'm just a Muppet looking bitch from Georgia who's got mad money. And I ain't even trying to be a part of this. Like Hawley and Cruz, two of those guys, like it's so funny that like again, there is something a bit admirable that they're like doubling down on this shit, but at the same time, it's like, no, you guys gotta no. You guys got to know when it's over. I think it's because of the fact that Trump's got such a big grasp on the Republican balls still at this point.
Yeah.
But I think he probably shot himself in the foot in terms of that because of how like he handled the whole situation on Wednesday. And now people are getting arrested. People are basically like losing the jobs. People can't even go home because of like, they're trapped at the airports. which I also again, I could not believe that one video of this guy who was stuck at the airport and he was just like, they won't let me on because I'm a terrorist.
I saw that. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I wonder how many fucking innocent brown people you called a terrorist, you fucking dumb bat fuck. Dude, that's all I could think about when I watched that fucking video. Is like how many fucking like people he saw were just a little bit on the browner side than his white, and he was probably like, I don't want to sit next to this person on the plane, and got a little squeamish inside. And then he's like, they're treating me like I'm a terrorist, and I am just like, dude.
Let me say something.
Let me say something too.
Let me say something too. Like, it would be one thing if one of these guys got arrested and he wasn't even trying to defend his actions, or at the very least, like, he just simply said, like, I did what I stood for.
And like Ray Fiennes at the end of what was that movie? Schindler's List. Like, you know, like he's about to be hung, and like, what are your last words? He's like, Heil Hitler.
Yeah.
And then he dies.
And
like good shit, fuckboy.
And again, like, I'm not saying that it's admirable, but that at least that character, or even this guy, like, you know, stood for state sedition and shit like that. Or, you know, Ralph Fiennes' character, where like he actually was just like, oh, I just wanted to kill Jews because it was fun. Because I think that was his character.
That literally was his character in that fucking movie, bro.
Did target practice with, and I think this was actually true.
Schindler's List, by the way, to anybody who doesn't know what that movie is, it's a very, very dark, very real and gritty movie about the Holocaust. It's an amazing movie. Yeah. It's got what's his fucking, why am I stupid? Liam Neeson, thank you, and probably some actual Jewish actors.
And Ralph Fiennes, he played
and Ray Fiennes, yeah.
Is it?
It's pronounced Ray Fiennes, and it's just not what it looks like at all when it's written down. I don't know why it's pronounced Ray Fiennes. But that's what it is.
But and I'm not saying again
Ray Fiennes, idiot, make your name more pronounceable, dumbass.
Isn't he British?
Fucking dumb shit. Yeah. Fucking dumb shit. Make your name more pronounceable.
I could have sworn that guy's name was Ralph, but anyway,
let's look it up. What is he? Ralph. Oh, dude, this is gonna be so dumb. Ralph. First thing that comes up is Ralph Lauren. Oh, then we got Ralph Macchio.
Ralph
and there he is. He's at the bottom. He's at the bottom. Right,
he's such a good actor, though.
His nationality. Where's his nationality? Yeah, he's from the UK. He's British.
Why is your fucking name Ray? You have Ralph in it.
Dude, it's actually so confusing, man. But
Well, again, going back to what I was saying, like, the guy who would come out and just say, like, okay, like, you know, like I would be perfectly not even fine, but it's just so weird that, like, some of these people that got arrested are now crying that they got arrested. It's like, y'all know what you did. Like, y'all know what you did that Wednesday. Y'all were basically trying to overthrow this shit Bastille style. And, like, some of these guys even had fucking zip ties and shit.
That's the shit that really fucked me up. Was the people with the zip ties. Yeah. The fact that they were literally actually planning on taking hostages.
There was even bombs found at the Senate building. And also,
fuck God.
I'll even say this: if they burned that shit down, I'd be like, you know, I just thought they were pussies, but, you know, like, they actually not, like, they actually trying to do something. Because I'll even say this, like,
makes me see them as more pussies, if anything, for me. But you go, you just fucking.
But, like, as far as, like, getting shit done, and at least even pushing the narrative and trying people to, I guess, support it, their narrative, it didn't do that. Because there were senators within the building at that time that were basically, like, you know, saying, like, you know, like, it's like, we gotta, like, open an investigation at least or something. And then during BLM and after George Floyd's death, and afterwards, and the fallout that had happened, and all the riots and protests that had came about afterwards, literal police precincts got burned to the ground.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not saying that that's either a good or bad thing. What I'm getting at is that, like, at least BLM, like, did something, because
for, like, an actual noble cause.
Sure, so. I mean, whatever. Like, I'm not even trying to talk about that, because it's like, I do believe it was, but, like, my whole point of the whole argument is that at least, like, these guys are pussies. Like, the MAGA nation, whatever the fuck they want to call themselves nowadays, MAGA, FAGA, I don't know, but, like, they literally, like, didn't do anything. They just
it's for nothing, dude. It's their fucking whole.
They just came into the Senate building. They took pictures and took selfies for the gram, which was used as incriminating evidence from the FBI and for the CIA. Literally every State Department is out looking for these guys in cooperation with the Homeland Security and everyone else. So it's like, not only did you fucking shot yourself in the foot, but you also basically just painted a target everywhere on your body, just basically saying like, hey, by the way, that guy who basically took the fucking picture with the podium, yeah, that was me. Oh, look at that. I got arrested like 2 days later. And then somehow I'm surprised about it. It's like, why are you surprised? Like, you fucking know what you did.
It's textbook fascism, dude. It's like they have a whole radicalized ideology or political movement, quote unquote, that is based on one man's delusion. That is the fucking definition of fascism. It's happened so many times throughout history, over and over again.
And the biggest example,
it was all like fucking exactly. It was all fucking Hitler's like insecurity that made these people actually believe Trump all these dumbass lies. They like the fucking no, of course not. But the fact it's similar tactics. The election fraud, that whole shit. That is literally there's no evidence of that. Of course, that didn't happen. But Donald Trump says it. But Donald Trump says it because in his mind he can't lose. He's the greatest. He's never lost in his life. The greatest.
You had 10 days
over and over again. And like, now 72 fucking million people legitimately believe that now with no evidence, all because of one man being too much of a goddamn little turtle fucking pussy to admit
you had
lost.
10 days
That's
left.
all it is.
Yeah. You had 10 days left and you could have
speaking of, go to the website. Did you see this?
No,
the website, it said that his term was up yesterday.
On what, Wikipedia or?
The fucking government website, dude.
So what, like whitehouse.gov?
Something like that, I think. I don't remember where it was, but I saw it on Twitter. It was like some government website that said that Donald Trump's term officially ended on January 11th, 2021. And you know what that means, Dennis? Do you know what that means?
That he's gone?
That means that they either invoked the 25th or that social media intern is about to get so fucking fired. Like, to the point where he will never, ever be able to post shit for anybody on social media for free ever again. I'm not saying it's official, I'm just saying that's what the website said. And, like, somebody either fucked up or they just did something a little too early that they're not releasing to the public yet. I mean, the congressional Democrats did meet, like, for the impeachment hearing. They are trying to do it. They really are trying to go through with it, but that's what the website said, man. It's crazy stuff, honestly. Like, 10 days, man. You couldn't have gone... You know where he's at today? Do you know where Trump is at today?
He's probably not at D.C., I feel.
He's at the fucking border! He's talking about the wall! He's talking about the wall! He made a speech. My grandmother downstairs was watching Telemundo, and he's on there fucking talking about the goddamn wall. How about the shit that happened up here, asshole? Say something about that! Couldn't have been presidential for like 3 minutes, man. Dennis, look, I have something on my mind that I really need to get off my chest.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is ADD, the podcast. But this has nothing to do.
This also be like talking about A to Z topics, like real quick. Like
this is what you guys have to expect on this podcast. It's fucking spontaneous. We'll be talking about a topic for like 5-10 minutes. We'll talk about something else for like 5 minutes, and then later towards the end of the podcast, we'll bring that back. Like we strive to be very spontaneous on here. It's a big thing about us. We're out here, we're just being ourselves. But I can't get this off my mind. When you said earlier in the show today. Which, by the way, thank you for watching. We love you all so much. You're not watching it. It's a fucking podcast, David, you dumb shit.
Please donate to us. Donate to our OnlyFans.
Oh, that's something I wanted to bring up to you, too.
Yeah.
I can't get this off my mind. You know Final Fantasy VII?
Yes, I do.
You were talking about, like, this whole performative versus preventative thing, and, like, this perfect... You were talking about how a utopia would not necessarily be a good thing. And I do agree with you on one end. Do you remember, and I guess spoilers for anybody for Final Fantasy VII, this is really not major spoilers at all, but whatever, just cover your ears.
For a 20-year-old game, it's like, okay, like...
Yeah. Wait, what? Wait, dude, what the... What? Andy Dufresne gets out of prison?
Yes, and then Red fucks him in the ass.
That's like, no, they weren't even... Well, actually, that could have happened. That actually could happen canonically when they get to Mexico. But, anyway, I was going to say, like, a utopia would be one thing, because, like, in that game, do you remember the part where, like, Cloud and Aerith are trying to break into Don Corneo's lair to get Tifa out, and the way they're doing that is they're trying to dress up Aerith, like, to make her look, like, hotter. So, like, Don Corneo...
As if that was possible.
As if that... Exactly. Because here's the problem. There's so much dialogue that there's a fucking montage of it on YouTube. I'll link that in the description if I can find it. Of literally people roasting Aerith for saying that she's not that attractive. It's the final... In the Final Fantasy VII universe, Aerith is considered one of the ugly ones. I want to live in the universe where Aerith Gainsborough is one of the fucking ugly ones. I want to live there. I really want to live in that universe where a woman who looks like that is not considered universally attractive. You got issues. The standards, the fucking anime standards in that goddamn game are so high. Every character is, like, so fucking beautiful. Like,
yeah, even Cloud is like, damn. Like,
dude, even Cloud, you'd be lying.
And that's also Square Enix,
You're a dude listening to this right now. You'd be lying if you tell yourself that Cloud is a little gay. I get more and more angry every day. Every goddamn day. That I wake up in the morning, and I'm not Cloud Strife. I'm just not him. I wake up, and I'm David Riverall again, and I'm like, God damn it. I don't want this. Yeah, I'll turn and look at my computer or whatever. I got a 3070 in there. That's nice. It's not the same.
I want Aerith.
It's not the same thing.
I want Aerith, though.
Literally, dude, there's so many scenes, like, where you're, like, they're, like, dolling her up and shit, where she goes to, like, the beauty parlor, and then, like, they get the new dress or outfit for her, and then every single person she talks to straight up makes, like, a passive-aggressive comment about her looks. She's like, yeah, you're alright, I guess, but you're definitely not good-looking enough to be one of the Dawn's girls. And I'm sitting here watching this, I'm like, what? Look at her, she's fucking gorgeous. Come on. That just made me want to live in the Final Fantasy universe even fucking more.
Aerith is definitely, like, the real good girl hot. And I honestly feel like, because I like Tifa just a little more, just because of how, like,
I feel like most people do. I will say,
like,
I'm an Aerith man myself. As much of a breast man as I am, it's funny enough. I'm totally an Aerith guy. But continue.
I think Aerith also has some pretty big titties.
Definitely,
personally.
no, that's just like average looking, but that's neither here nor there.
But listen, they're not also that like that small either though. Like, you could do some stuff with them. Is all I'm saying.
All right, this is about as weeby as I want to get. Continue.
But. But also, you gotta understand, like, I think there was a part where they even said, in that whole cutscene sequence, where it's like Cloud, Aerith, and I think the guard. The guard actually comments that Cloud looks really nice as a woman, and I honestly thought, like,
oh yeah,
and
Cloud Strife's trans awakening, dude.
Yeah,
I love it.
I even saw a couple of people who modded their games where, like, they kept girly outfit of Cloud, and he just went through the whole, like, this is the remake, obviously.
The whole game?
Yeah, they went the whole game dressed as Girl Cloud, even fighting Sephiroth with the Girl Cloud costume.
Oh,
Buster Sword
hilarious.
And all, beating up Sephiroth in a fucking dress.
I love it. I love it.
And to be fair, too, like, I think, because Aerith she could definitely be best girl, just because, for me at least, like, Aerith don't look like the type of person who would say, hey, Cloud, come with me to terrorize this whole fucking company and potentially kill people.
I've heard people say she gives off massive horse girl energy.
Yeah.
And I still don't know what that means.
I think that also just means that Aerith is probably a size queen, which if she was, I'd be like, you know what? I completely understand. I completely get it if she was.
Will Final Fantasy VII be on the Switch Pro? That is rumored.
The remake?
Well, no, you even mentioned this to me. Like, you know how there are, like, rumors of the Switch Pro?
Oh, yeah.
What do you think of that?
Personally, well, for one, I'm not surprised, because it's Nintendo, and for all of David's fans out there that, all of y'all are, I'd imagine, are part of the Smash community, or at least big Nintendo fans. I was about to say fanboys because that's what I just call everybody whose fandom I'm not really a part of.
Yeah, same
but
shit.
Like, yeah, like, but for all you guys who are like a part of it, like, I'm pretty sure none of you can really say that any of you are surprised that Nintendo's at least got rumors of a Switch Pro coming out. Personally, for me, it's like now I'm in a bit of a conundrum because it's like now I'm looking at my Switch and I'm like, what the fuck do I do with you?
I hear it gets hot enough if you like play it, if you leave it on like to a really like high resolution game in the summertime, right? You can leave that shit on your car, crack open an egg, and then just put that shit on there.
Would not be
like cook that something. Get yourself a little nice something on there. You know what I'm saying? Like boot up Final Fantasy VII in fucking handheld mode, which would obliterate that thing's CPU. By the way, the Switch. I know a guy, he's a big commentator in the Smash community, whose Switch literally can't stay on for that long of a time because it keeps overheating. Like there's something wrong with his. It just like keeps like doing that. And the Switch gets fucking hot, dude. It's kind of dumb how that happens, but yeah.
And also, like, I don't know as far as the because this is also one aspect that I'm always very interested in, as far as where the technical specs are going to be going with the Switch Pro. Personally, for me, I hope to God it doesn't go all the way to 4K, because I feel as if that would defeat the purpose of the Switch. And let me just at least say this by clarifying, like, Nintendo was doing its, and I'm not even going to be saying this as an authority on Nintendo at all, but personally for me, it's just seemed as if like Nintendo was doing so well trying not to compete with Sony or Microsoft. They were in their lane for the last maybe 5 to 10 years, and they were making bank because there was nobody out there who was competing with them. The Switch, and a lot of people were saying like, well, it's like PS4, Xbox, and versus Switch, right? And I'm like, no, it's like Xbox versus PlayStation, and then the Switch is like over there in its own corner and doing its own thing. And it's been like this, personally for me, like thing for years. And they were doing fine. They had the Nintendo 3DS, which I heard now that they're going to even basically stop support for.
They already did. They discontinued the 3DS way earlier in this year.
Okay. And
last year.
Okay, last year. So, and now the Switch Pro is coming out. I don't want to, well, I mean, they're going to come out with it eventually. Like they did the same thing with all their other consoles. So it's just kind of like Nintendo's.
What are you talking about? No, they didn't.
No, like for Nintendo's like life, like kind of like their product life cycle. Because we always had like an upgraded version of almost everything that they ever came out with.
That is not true.
The Wii, the Wii U, Nintendo DS, the 3DS.
That was a different console. It was a whole different library of games.
Still had the name on it too.
Well, that's just because they're dumb, and that's part of the reason why it didn't sell that well. There was never an updated GameCube. There was never an updated N64 or a SNES or an NES.
But at least for the okay, not their entire lives, but at least in their modern history, yes, they have come out with upgraded versions of their shit like many times.
There are like 4 different 3DSs and like 5 different DSs or something.
There you go. And
that's
now
their handhelds. It's different.
Yeah, but now they're not even going to be fucking with the handheld crowd anymore, because like now they're going to be like, well, you see, you have the Switch. What do you need a handheld for? It's already handheld. You can play that on the go or at home. Like, what do you need another handheld device for? Because I think personally, for me, from a business standpoint, it just kind of seems as if maybe Nintendo, from that action, is just consolidating everything into this one system that you can do everything with. And if that is the case, then I completely understand why. Just because of how well the Switch did, even with, they were never in competition with Microsoft and Sony. Like, that's coming from me.
Yeah, no, they are in their own lane. Yeah, I literally worked for them. Yeah. I know what the demographics that they go for are.
Mm-hmm. And if the Switch Pro does decide to go to like that real cutting edge territory, it's gonna fail, because Nintendo's games were never about graphic fidelity, ever, in their entire history.
Oh, hell no. Did you see Pokemon Sword and Shield?
I don't give a fuck about Pokemon.
It looked like a 3DS game, dude.
Yeah.
It was like them graphics were ace. I will say some of their new ones, some of their new games are like can at least get to the pinnacle of Nintendo quality. Like Luigi's Mansion 3 looks fucking incredible.
And that's why I'm also...
But that's like an exception. Everything else is like so behind.
That's why I'm also saying like that's why Nintendo's been in their own lane for so long. They could bring out a game that isn't crazy graphically looking, like how trying to think of one off the top of my head, at least in recent memory, like Cyberpunk. For all its problems, it is a beautiful looking game. I don't care what anyone says. As far as the visual spectacle that is Cyberpunk 2077.
Well, yeah, but you need
like,
one of these things. My
fair
fucking
enough.
Computer here that costs
fair
like
enough, but my
arm
argument,
and a leg and a dick.
I know, but my argument at least still stands. Like, it's a visually beautiful game.
Of course.
And I think for Nintendo, they don't need to be that. I hope to God in the next maybe 15, 20 years, because I fucks with Nintendo. Not as much as you do, but like I still at least like really do think they're a great company, even in light of the crazy shit that's been going on in the last couple months, and all y'all know about it, talking to you guys and David's audience and all that. But for me, it's just kind of like, if they keep doing what they're doing, and there's not some guy that comes around in the board meetings and say, we got to compete with Sony and Microsoft, Nintendo will last forever. They don't need to compete with either the other two big dogs, one of them being basically their next door neighbor. Like, y'all don't need to fucks with them. Like, you can do your own thing and you'll be fine with it.
Yeah, that's what they've been doing forever. You mean they used to make fucking... I'll give you guys a little brief tour right now if you want something else. I'm sure a lot of you, I mean, all you gamers probably know this at this point, but if you're not a gamer, if you're that guy who was like looking for porn, you typed in double D experience and you were hoping that it would have been something completely different, and then you found this and decided to continue listening instead, I'll give you a little brief history of Nintendo right now. They used to be a trading card company, or a playing card company back in the late 1800s. They've been around that long of a company. In the 1960s, they changed direction for a couple of things. They used to run love hotels.
Which I'm totally fine with if they did that now.
Nintendo, baby. They used to literally run places where you could just stop and fuck whenever you wanted. It was a business. And then it wasn't until, like the late 70s and whatnot, when like video games were just starting out, that they saw like a huge market in this, and then they really just got working hard on Donkey Kong and shit, and eventually made something great and shoved the industry forward because they're fucking Nintendo. But yeah, it's always been in terms of like Nintendo quality has been about like not even just the quality of their games, but also just their IPs. They got to be really, really careful with what they do with like a character like Mario, which is why part of the reason why they're, in my honest opinion, very much overly stingy with how the IP is used in other games. But we're already out of time to talk about a topic like that. We might talk about that next week if you guys are interested. Definitely let us know definitely let us know on our Twitter at DoubleDPod if you want to what you want us to talk about or ask us any questions. And nothing is off limits.
Yeah,
guys.
Please,
we strive to be based on this podcast. So honest to God, ask us anything.
Yeah, and for real, like as far as questions go, like I mean, obviously, like if they're too silly, we're probably not going to answer them. But like serious or entertaining or otherwise, like then please don't be afraid to leave your questions on our Twitter, because I'm really just curious to like even see what you guys have on your mind and like see how we could answer them.
Yeah, we'll try to answer it like no matter what, unless it's something that would be like, I guess, too personal maybe, or just something that is impossible to answer. Like, what is the meaning of life? We'll try. We'll talk about that for a little while.
I ain't answering that.
He's not answering that.
I ain't answering that.
Yeah. And speaking of answering, I think we actually might be coming up on time for this week already, Dennis.
Yeah,
gonna have to save some of these little topics for next week.
Yeah, unfortunate considering like I love the. Honest to God, though, like I would not be surprised in the future, like if we decided to do like 1 or 2 hour, maybe like we'll leave the 2 hour episodes as like specials, perhaps.
2 hours? What?
I mean, look, I think everyone could see that we could probably talk our asses off for 2 hours or more, and
Dennis, I got 5 hours a month on this thing. I mathematically cannot make a 2 hour episode. That we can't do that because then we just wouldn't have an episode for a week.
We'll figure something out.
Coming out your ass with 2 hour episodes. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, David, don't be a pussy, okay?
I'm not. I'm just being
Come on, man.
Reasonable. I'm trying to be.
No.
real.
Like, this age of reason is bullshit. Like, we got to be unreasonable.
All right, shut up. Shut the fuck up right now. Just shut up. Okay. What I will say though, for our first episode, we're trying to sort of feel out the structure of this a little bit. So definitely, like, if you want to give us any advice, or if there's anything like you want to hear first, or what orders or anything else, me and Dennis are going to talk about this more than more. Like, we'll probably save like viewer questions until like the end. If we get like viewer questions, we'll structure the topics a little more differently, I suppose. We're feeling it out right now, I suppose. But right now we are coming up on the hour mark, so I think this will be a good place to call it.
Yeah, and
for this week.
Yeah, and also just like real quick, for just to say something about like the podcast, and to all you guys, like, this is definitely a work in progress. Like, we're constantly going back and forth about ideas about like what to do and such, like with the podcast and everything. And like, we're also, even from you guys, like, of course, like, open to suggestions about like whatever maybe you guys think maybe like something we could add on to like the podcast, to maybe like, as like just a little fun bit we could do. Answering questions is one thing that I really wanted to do in the first episode, but I guess like, we'll just leave that for when we get to it. And again, like, we can't do this without you guys, so please, like, like and comment and subscribe and all that good shit, and like share this
only
with
if you're
friends.
on YouTube you can comment.
Regardless, but even just share it with your friends. Like, if this is something that you guys fucks with, and like you got people around you that like, can at least agree. Like, we're not going to talk about like, we talk about a bunch of shit. So
yeah,
like, we're not going to just always talk about just politics or just Smash or just this and that. It's always going to be like a mismatch. And like, if you guys are fucks with that, then please, like, join us, and invite more people to join us.
It's been a political week. You can't blame
it's
you.
It's going to be political for the next 6 months, David. Like,
for the next, things are always going to be political, but there was literally an insurrection on the fucking Capitol building this week. It would have been weird for us to not talk about that. I didn't want to get too political in our first episode, of course. I wanted to save that kind of stuff for a little bit later.
McConnell. We started
I know you started with Mitch McConnell.
But
are you a Mitch McConnell simp?
Am I a Mitch McConnell simp? No, but
I don't even think Mitch McConnell's wife is a Mitch McConnell simp at this point.
Maybe. Like,
I don't know. Point is, didn't want to get too political.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get too political yet, because it's not always the best way to open up, but it's been a political week. It was a little hard not to, but don't get me wrong, I will drink another one. I will shove a particular can of Rise Cold Brew up Dennis's ass, so he'll be ready for next week when that time comes around. And this podcast is indirectly sponsored by the Rise Nitro Brewing Company, because they sponsor me. They make organic nitrogenated cold brew coffee. So if that's your thing, comes in a couple of flavors, with a new one dropping relatively soon as well. You can find with the referral link down below, using discount code Nintoonist at checkout, to not only get 10% off, but to also directly support the podcast as well, off of some of that commission. So if you want a way to just directly support the podcast while also getting yourself some bomb cold brew coffee in a variety of flavors, you can go check out that link below. And it does have to be that link for the discount code to work. It is my referral link, so definitely check that out down in the description below if you want to get some of that. And if that's not your thing, they also make oat milk in 3 different flavors. So shout outs to Ochirachi, the completely oat milk account that one of my friends in the Smash community made, completely dedicated to oat milk. She literally just scours Twitter, and she like retweets oat milk tweets. It's that takes a level of dedication that I personally am only trying to start experience now, but it is something that me and Dennis are very dedicated to, is this podcast. Let us know how we can make the Double D experience better for you, and shove this particular pair of Double Ds in your face every week, every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think we got about come up on time, Dennis. I've said my piece. Anything else?
Hope y'all get the amount of pussy and dicks you want in your life.
Whether it's only one of them or both.
Yes.
At the same time.
That's
not exactly the Double D experience.
I mean, if you're bi, I don't know if you all are bi. I don't know.
Like, we'll fucking know you. Just do your shing. Touch your.
If you want some mountains and jungles, like, thing up in your face, whatever. Fuck it. Like, I don't mind to judge. I don't judge.
We are definitely not judgmental here. We hope you guys have enjoyed. If you want, you can feel free to subscribe to us. We're on Spotify, Pocket Cast, Google Podcasts. We'll be on Apple Podcasts coming soon, wherever you get your podcast, or on youtube.com/Nintoonist, where we're at as well. this is going to be a big venture for us guys. So really, if you even took the time to listen to this one,
we appreciate it.
Don't think that this episode is going to be exactly like what every other one is going to be like. Things are going to mix and change. I'll probably drink a little more. I'll probably drink another can of coffee beforehand, so I'll be more energetic. I'll shove another one up Dennis's ass and then another one in his face at the same time to make sure he's all up and off the walls. Because trust me, I've seen this guy when he goes AWOL. I used to do Let's Plays with this man. But in all seriousness, we are coming up on time. Do all that good stuff. We love you all. Mwah. We'll see you next week, all right?
Good night.
Good night, friends. Woo! Mitch McConnell.